From our television center in Blantyre, we bring you the latest edition of MBC News Hour. With me, Kingsley Mdila, and our sign language interpreter is Tauson Kamalata. Coming up. Government suspends the Reverend John Chirembe Memorial Service of Worship. Young Women Christian Association empowers an 18-year-old young mother who survives through Kachaso Brewery. And the Malawi Human Rights Commission to conduct free and impartial investigations into the shooting of a polytechnic student. Government has suspended the Reverend John Chirembe Memorial Service of Worship, which was scheduled to be held on 15th January 2021 at Providence Industrial Mission, PIM. According to the Office of the President and Cabinet, the suspension is due to upsurge of new COVID-19 infections, which the country is experiencing at an alarming rate. The statement says Friday, 15th January, remains a public holiday, and the country will quietly honor the huge contribution made by the late Reverend John Chirembe to the freedom of Malawians. The Young Women Christian Association, YWCA, has pledged continued support to young women. Recently, members of the association visited an 18-year-old young mother who, together with her two kids, are surviving through Kachaso Brewery in Bangwe Township, Blantyre. Mrs. Amawa with the story.
This is an 18-year-old Grace Yohane. Grace was born in a family of 5. She hails from Tenje village in Bangwe in the city of Blantyre. At her age, Grace is blessed with 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Her firstborn is 6 years old and he is in standard 1. Grace dropped out of school in standard 7 when she was expectant of her firstborn child.
I dropped out of school because I never listened to my parents' advice, and also because of the friends that I used to have then. I used to follow them wherever they went, and I got pregnant. And that's the reason I dropped out of school.
Grace has 2 kids, but from different fathers. And this makes it even more difficult for the fathers to provide assistance to the children. To earn a living, Grace ventured into Kachaso brewing business, which she learned from her parents. Currently, Grace is among some girls who are benefiting from the Young Women Christian Association initiative of empowering adolescent girls and young women in Bangwe. Through the initiative, Grace says she has learned a lot.
Honestly, I have benefited a lot. I'm now empowered. We have learned so many things. They taught us the importance of school, taking care of our children, and how to prevent HIV and AIDS.
Grace says would not want to see any of her fellow girls go through what she went through, and she gives a word of advice.
If someone somewhere is doing what I used to do, she must change. Otherwise, we'll get into problems and can even cost one's life. It's a burden to care for the kids if you are not doing anything to earn a living.
One of the mothers in Bangwe has commended Young Women Christian Association for the initiative, which she says will give young mothers a chance to go back to school.
We need to encourage the girls to make use of this opportunity. This initiative will not only help our area but also the country at large. Through the initiative, they will gain knowledge to help them to go back to school and also to send their children to school, since now they know the importance of education.
Acting President for Young Women Christian Association, Alice Bwanausi, says their initiative has seen a significant number of girls go back to school and others venturing into different businesses.
we've had a lot of success stories of adolescent mothers who have, out of this program, some have chosen to go back to school. We have managed to source some scholarships for those who are interested to go back to school, and also most of the adolescent mothers have got something to do. Those who have failed to go back to school, we have helped them with starting up small businesses and also some small startup capitals so that they can improve their lives.
With funding from her Voice Fund through Global Network of Young People Living with HIV, YWCA has empowered 46 young women. The YWCA project complements the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which serves to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls by 2030. Meose Zamawa, MBC News, Bangwe Blantyre.
Encroachment into forest reserves is said to be affecting afforestation efforts by Zomba District Council. District Forestry Officer for Zomba, Amon Kabango, said this in the area of Senior Chief Malemia during the launch of a tree planting exercise for Zomba Malosa constituency. Kabango has since appealed to communities in the district to have a sense of ownership by protecting trees. The district is expected to plant 2.5 million tree seedlings. Meanwhile, parliamentarian for the area, Grace Kwedepeta, has called on chiefs in the area to take a leading role in conserving the environment.
We are trying to engage with the local communities and the traditional leaders and all leadership within the constituency to make sure we all participate in environmental conservation. But as you know, it is a serious problem because it's emanating from the challenges of land for farming. So people are resorting into the protected areas like the forest reserves for farming. So it's a gradual process, but we're trying really hard to make sure people understand and really participate in the environmental management.
The Malawi Congress Party women from the southern region have been advised to form groups, open bank accounts and write business plans in order for them to benefit from National Economic Empowerment Fund, NEF. National Director of Women for the party, Patricia Mkanda, made these remarks when she held an interface meeting with MCP women from the southern region at the party's regional head office in Blantyre.
As a party, we will make sure that women benefit from these loans by actually assisting them. We've engaged the consultants who will be going around assisting them so that they benefit, as well as because there are issues to do with the banking also. But once they do business, they get some money. They deposit the money into the bank so that it's put to good use. So all that will ensure that is done at the end of the day.
Medical experts from Chatinka Maternity Care Chamaka have called on women in the country to take screening of cervical cancer seriously. One of the experts from the grouping, Professor Frank Taulo, made the call during an outreach program in Ineno district. More than 50 women were screened for cancer of the cervix during the outreach program at Zalewa Clinic.
It's very important. Screening is one of the prevention measures which can be used to defeat this cancer of the cervix. We know that cervical cancer is a leading cancer among women, cancers in Malawi. So by us coming mainly in the rural areas, because that's where we're getting a lot of cases, I think this is the only way we can fight this disease. So us coming, working hand in hand with the Minister of Health, you can see here that the service providers are Minister of Health. The facility is a Minister of Health facility. So we work hand in hand, Chamaga and Minister of Health. By doing so, we're going to reach out to many rural women who are unable to go to hospitals and get screened. So by us coming out in these rural areas, we're making a huge difference that we're giving them an opportunity, they get screened, so that later on they don't develop cancer of the cervix.
Chamaga conducted the cancer screening exercise in partnership with Ministry of Health officials and representatives from NGOs.
In this district, we are also affected with the cervical cancer, of which at least almost 2% of our women they are affected with it. cervical cancer. As such, most of our women, we are encouraging them to be screened so that when we screen them and we identify the cancerous lesion, they are treated so that they should not progress to cancer. For the turn-up is average, of which there are some other services that we are integrating with the cervical cancer screening. For example, family planning. When our women come for family planning, we also advocate for cervical cancer screening. Even there are some other programs like for those women who have come for STIs, we also link them to cervical cancer screening. On this initiative, this is helping a lot because whenever they are there, our friends Jamaga, when they are there, at least we have a lot of women. So on a specific day, we can screen more women. For example, today we have screened 56 clients from one clinic.
You're watching MBC News Hour with me, Kingsley Mtila. A reminder of our top stories. Government suspends the Reverend John Chirembe Memorial Service of Worship. Young Women Christian Association empowers an 18-year-old young mother who survives through Kachaso Brewery. And the Malawi Human Rights Commission to conduct free and impartial investigations into the shooting of a polytechnic student.
Kodi madziwa kuti ananga onse folo ni graduates ndiye anthu ula makamba zambiri amene aja ndi okhwima anawatemera nawo kuti adzingopita ku university ndi maseka lelo ndafuna ndikululeni chisisi ananga onse folo anapita ku Maranatha Academy kujana amazula ma 6 points kuja kumeneko anakambira form 1 mpaka na form 4 nazindikira kuti mmera mpoyamba komanso anambiri amene amachita bwino ku Maranatha Academy amakhala otanamba form 1 pomwepo aphunzitsa amakhala ndi nthawi yowasula bwino anawo mpaka na nthawi yadzapa mayeso a form 4 mayeso a standard 8 atulukawa ana ano okamba form 1 thamangani nawo ni ku Maranatha Academy basi imbani phone lero pa 0888 993 232 0993 832 832 kapena 0991 276 273 chonde osabetsa ndalama Maranatha Academy ilipo. Maranatha.
Welcome back. MBC News Hour continues, and stand by for the update from the Central Region.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Lilongwe segment of News Hour, coming your way from our Area 4 studios. You're with me, Kumbukani Piri. Stay tuned. The Ministry of Education has defended this year's selection of about 84,000 primary school learners to various secondary schools across the country that has more than 140,000 eligible learners left out in the cold. According to the Secretary for Education, Chikondano Musa, the selection was done on merit and the criticisms are without basis. Thomas Psata reports.
Out of 277,007 candidates who sat for the primary school leaving certificate last year, 225,307 passed, representing 81.3% pass rate, which is the highest for the past 5 years. However, out of 225,307 students who passed the 2019 examinations, only 84,947 candidates have been selected to start Form 1 in various secondary schools. This means that over 140,000 eligible students have been left out in the code. This has kicked up a storm as stakeholders and interest groups are accusing the ministry for using quota system in the selection of 1,860 students into the 4 government-owned national schools and 20 grant-aided mission schools. Speaking during a media orientation, Secretary for Education, Chikondano Musa, revealed that the selection process was based on merit. For boys, she said the highest mark was 434 and cut-off point for selection was 380, while for girls, the highest was 432 and the cut-off point was 354. She said those that were within the marks were therefore selected regardless of their region and district of origin. Musa said the current challenges are due to lack of space in secondary schools. She, however, revealed that government is working on creating 60,000 more spaces by the end of this year.
As a ministry, we are also considering expanding our infrastructure. Like for this year alone, we have plans on the cards that we are going to finalize construction of 92 secondary schools, which will give us close to 60,000 more places. So that come the next round of selection, we are going to have 60,000 more places.
Due to complaints from various stakeholders, the 2019-2020 primary school living certificate selection process has been subjected to independent audit, including one by the Office of the Ombudsman. Thomas Ipiada, MBC, Lilongwe.
Empowering women with knowledge of legal matters can help expose and reduce cases of gender-based violence. This is according to Chifundo Chulu, a paralegal coordinator at Gender and Justice Unit, who was conducting a legal counseling session with women at Chigwirizano in Lilongwe. Richmond Choma has compiled this report read by Isaac Jali.
Last year, Malawi registered a high number of gender-based violence cases. Gender and Justice Unit is one of the organizations that have come out to sensitize women on gender-related laws and provide legal support to victims as one way of curbing the vice. The organization held a legal counseling session with women at Chigwirizano in Lilongwe. Paralegal coordinator at Gender and Justice Unit, Chifundo Chulu, said a lot of cases remain unreported because most women are not aware of their rights and where to get assistance. She said when women know what the law says, they will be able to follow the right channels to bring to book perpetrators of the vice.
We took out 3 areas in Lilongwe, Chitipi, Chigwiri and Lumbadzi, where we go and hold out these legal clinics and distribute dignity kits as well. And we talk to the women in the communities about gender-related laws, and we sensitize them on these laws. And then we pick out the gender-based violence issues that we can take and assist them with legal assistance and psychosocial support.
Catherine Jamu, one of the survivors of gender-based violence, said before the program started, they didn't know where to get legal assistance when faced with gender-based violence.
These legal training sessions have really helped us. Before these trainings, we didn't know what to do when faced with gender-based violence. But now, we know where to report and get legal assistance.
The organization has also distributed various food items to women to help cushion them from the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Lilongwe, the organization is working with women from Chigwirizano, Chitipi and Rumbadzi.
The Social Cash Transfer Program, which is assisting the ultra-poor in rural communities, is making a difference in Mchinji. According to Mchinji District Commissioner Peter Jimsole, the ultra-poor under the program are able to find basic needs, including finding provisions for their school-going children and wards, as well as buy farm inputs. More in this report.
The Malawi Social Cash Transfer Program targets the ultra-poor and the labor-constrained households. The program, which is a social welfare initiative in the Ministry of Gender, Community Development and Social Welfare, was piloted in Mchinji. Mchinji accounts of the initiative are all encouraging, as the District Commissioner there, Peter Jimsole, testifies.
So far, it has assisted quite a lot. It has helped in reducing hunger. It has also helped in reducing poverty. It has also assisted in increasing the school enrollment. So there are so many benefits of the project. So far so good.
The district commissioner says the only adjustment to be made to the program is probably to ensure beneficiaries don't walk long distances to pay points.
The beneficiaries travel long distances to access the nearest pay point. And if we could reduce or increase the number of clusters so that the beneficiaries can get their monies at the nearest point.
Janet Dak of Menyan Village Traditional Authority Mwonyeni hails the program for helping her achieve what she could not on her own, including building a house.
Ntugulabakomo has helped me a lot. I am able to send children to school and pay for their other needs. I am also into livestock farming and I have been able to build a house.
As the country is struggling to contain the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated effects, the Social Cash Transfer Program in Nchinji is currently giving out cash to help ultra-poor families survive the harsh economic environment. From Nchinji, this is Chiembeke Zokapatamoyo.
Though mental health experts estimate that about 300 people go mad every month, issues of mental health are often not taken seriously in local communities. Well, in this report, Maisoji Kadzula looks at how mental health problems are viewed in communities, though there seems to be an increase in people with mental disorders on the streets.
Mental health problems seem to be on the increase in the country, as many psychiatric patients are seen loitering in the streets. Mental health experts say mental problems come due to several factors, including alcohol, drug abuse, family matters, and stress, just to mention a few. According to Director of Mental Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Immaculate Chamangwana, the situation is becoming worse each passing day, as the mental health facility is having frequent new admissions.
We still get a number of patients coming from different district hospitals, but you should also know that the majority of the patients are managed in different hospitals. And if the district hospitals also do face some problems that they cannot manage them at the district hospital, that's why they refer to us. But others, like in the central region, they refer to some of the patients to St. John of God in area 43.
Chamangwana then called for collective responsibility in taking care of people with mental problems, as some types of mental illness can be rehabilitated or healed if referred to the hospital. Mental health problems have produced characters like Gopani, famously known as Papa, in the online public domain. Papa is a mentally disturbed person from Mulanjelimburi who has of late become a source of fun among social media users. Gopani is an example of many cases in the country that are being used for fun, taking advantage of their state. But is this the right way to treat people that are mentally challenged? Joza Bandawe is a special psychologist.
It is an unfortunate development. This is a development that is disrespectful because anyone who is ill is suffering or suffering from any illness, including mental illness, is a human being, and they are entitled to dignity and to to the rights of privacy without being turned into a circus for entertainment for people to laugh at. It's also a reflection of the people themselves who are taking this, of how they're undermining their own humanity, their own dignity, and their own ignorance by treating people like this. So it is unacceptable, and it is not right, and it should not be encouraged.
A decade ago, the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with the Malawi Police Service, conducted an exercise that was aimed at taking psychiatric patients loitering in the streets to Zomba Mental Hospital for treatment. Zomba Mental Hospital alone admits an average of more than 2,000 patients per year. Mental health experts say 300 people, mostly the youth, go mad every month in Malawi due to abuse of drugs and alcohol. Mental health problems seem to be a ticking bomb in the country that requires radical decisions to be effectively addressed. Maesoji Kadzula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
And that's all we had time for in a News Hour segment from Lilongwe. I'm Kumbukani Piri, and I do now hand you back to Television Center in Blantyre.
Thank you, Kumbukani. We now cross over to our Kaningina studios in Mzuzu, where my colleague Peter Makawa is on standby with news from the northern region.
Welcome. This is Mzuzu segment of News Hour. You're with me, Peter Makawa. Many thanks for joining us. Our first item, the Malawi Human Rights Commission says it will conduct free and impartial investigations into the shooting of the Polytechnic students Blessings Nyondo on the 30th of December 2020. Speaking in an interview with MBC, the Commission's Executive Secretary, Habiba Osman, said the Commission would treat the matter with all the seriousness it deserves for the public to appreciate the truth of the matter. Grant Mhango spoke to Osman.
This is a very serious matter. Our legal mandate as Malawi Human Rights Commission is to investigate human rights violations. So basically, because we do not believe that even some of those institutions that have been given that mandate would be able to do the investigations independently, like we would as Malawi Human Rights Commission. The police, of course, are being also mentioned in this shooting, as well as MBC. So for us, we are an independent institution, so we are actually in a better place to conduct these investigations based on the fact of our independence. We're appealing for a full cooperation of all relevant stakeholders and members of public as we carry out this assignment. So basically what we've done is to say that we are welcoming any information that can assist us in understanding the matter and coming up with an objective conclusion. In other words, we do not want to do a shoddy work, we do not want to do shortcuts, but we want to make sure that we are doing work that will be objective, that will be independent, and that will be satisfactory to all parties concerned.
There is a sigh of relief among many following the rolling out of a land reform implementation plan aimed at guiding the implementation of key land-related laws on pilot basis in 8 districts of the country. The exercise, which is being implemented by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development in conjunction with the development partners, aimed at sorting out land wrangles that many were facing, especially when dealing with customary land. Raymond Midaya with the details.
This is 49-year-old Chance Nyirenda, a father of 4. Like many others from Chikazenga village in Rumpi district, he is here to verify his land boundaries through a mapping exercise which was done by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Nyirenda says he is happy that his customary land is now documented, adding that the exercise has greatly helped in the reduction of land wrangles due to misunderstandings over land boundaries. According to Masida Mbano, Geographical Information Specialist, the COVID-19 pandemic delayed the finalizing of all field work which was supposed to be done by December 31st last year. He, however, indicated that they are now back on track and now working on administrative activities before they start giving the people their customary land certificates.
Here is what we call public display. You might be aware there were teams on the ground which were facilitating the education and demarcation of land parcels. So the villagers were showing their land parcels, and the land parcel was marked on a tablet, and also other information was being collected. After getting all that information, maps were compiled of all the land parcels in this area. plus the individual owners. So right now we are displaying those maps. So on the maps which are behind me, there are names of landholders and also the boundary of their pieces of land.
The implementation is being done on a pilot basis in 8 districts of the country, namely Karonga, Mzimba, Rumhi, Nkhotakota, Nchinji, Palombe, Chikwawa, and Nsanje. Raymond Midaya, MBC, Rumhi.
The Karonga District Council says it is optimistic that the establishment of a molecular laboratory by the government in the district will assist in the fight against coronavirus. Karonga District Director of Health and Social Services, David Suwale, said this after the hospital reported a surge in new coronavirus cases. Our reporter Rudoviko Nyirenda has filed this report.
On Monday, Karonga District Hospital registered 13 new coronavirus cases, 3 admissions, and 19 are on follow-up, a situation blamed on some people in the district who are not adhering to coronavirus preventive measures. Karonga District Director of Health and Social Services, David Sware, said the 13 who tested positive caught the virus through local transmission. According to Sware, the council is optimistic that the establishment of a molecular laboratory by the government in the district will assist in the fight against the pandemic.
At the moment, we have cartridges from Genex machine as well as the rapid test. But some months ago, we had that challenge indeed. So the other opportunity is that the government is also establishing a molecular laboratory just like the one at Mzuzu Central. There will be one at Kalonga, at the original hospital, old hospital. So we are assured that in the near future, we will not have any problems as regards to laboratory testing.
124 coronavirus cases have been confirmed since the hospital registered the first case on 26 April 2020, and so far 5 deaths have been registered. Rudoviko Nyirenda, MBC News, Karonga.
COVID-19 pandemic has worsened the challenge of lack of school blocks at Zolozolo Primary School in Mzuzu as over 2,000 learners scramble for the few existing classrooms in shifts. A visit by MBC to the school has shown that learning space is the most risk facing the learners. It is for this reason that communities in Zolozolo decided to construct an additional block to decongest the learners. Details in this report.
John Kanyiga is a Standard 4 learner at Zolozolo Primary School in Mzuzu. Despite wearing a mask and washing hands frequently, John and his fellow learners feel unsafe for COVID-19 as they converge in a congested class to learn. John's wish is for well-wishers to assist by completing school block, which the community around the school constructed. Concurring with John, Deputy Head Teacher for the school, Rhoda Musopoli, says the school is in dire need of extra school blocks.
Because of the problem of COVID-19, we face a lot of problems. The classroom are not enough, so we have divided those shifts. We have shifts, but those shifts we have also divided them into 2 again.
For his part, Secretary for School Management Committee, Crossbell Wankama, says the community's wish is to see Zolozolo learners acquiring education in a safe environment.
We noted that there is congestion at this school, and we voluntarily constructed the school block, which has 2 classrooms. But currently, we don't have money to complete the block.
According to Wankama, the block needs the sum of 5 million kwacha for desks, doors, windows, painting, electricity wiring and connection, just to mention a few. Alifa Kasongo, MPC News, Mzuzu.
In line with government's vision of helping the elderly, Ikwendeni Christian Youth Fellowship CYF members under the Livingstonia Synod have called upon youths to join hands in reaching out to people in need. Chairperson for the organization, Reston Muntali, made the remarks during the handover ceremony of a house that they have built for Nolit Ndau, a 94-year-old grandmother, at Ikwendeni. Jackson Sichali was there.
Norit Ndau, a 94-year-old grandmother who used to stay in a grass-thatched small house, can now afford a smile following her newly built house by Ikwendeni Christian Youth Fellowship CYF members. Ndau said living in this house was dangerous because it was not safe and was leaking during rainy season. But thanks to Ikwendeni CYF members who have come to her rescue by building this improved structure. Chairperson for Ikwendeni CYF, Reston Mdali, said by looking at the plight of the needy and offering a helping hand, they are putting into practice true love with the Bible teaches. He urged other youths to adopt the same in order to transform many lives.
We cannot manage, of course, to reach out to all of them, but at least to those who are within our reach, we can at least try to mobilize a few resources and help them. Because what we are told in the Bible is that love does not look at what is ours only, but even our friends, we can try as much as we can to reach out to them.
Meanwhile, Reverend Timothy Nyilenda, parish minister at Ikwendeni CCP congregation, hailed the youths and urged the church to participate in reaching out to the most underprivileged.
I want to ask every youth everywhere that I think this is the time to rise up and help the needy. This is the time that God needs people to wake up, stand up with their resources, great resources that they have, so that they can make a difference to the people that are in challenge, that are in need, like what Gogonda was going through.
It was a joy during the handover ceremony with songs of praise, all thanking God for what he has done upon the life of Norit Ndau. Jackson Sijari, MBC News, Ikwendeni, Mzinga.
And finally, a call has gone out to well-wishers for assistance in order to uplift lives of people in need. This follows the renovation of a house of a child-headed family in Mzuzu that was not in good shape. Chisomanda with the details.
MBC has established that these 3 children were abandoned by their own mother soon after their father was imprisoned. For close to 2 years now, the family has been headed by a 17-year-old boy whose survival depends on Peaceworks. The story of their plight drew the attention of the Boys to Real Men organization, which posted the story on its website, asking for well-wishers to intervene. Their prayers were answered by our Fort Victoria Queens, who came in with their assistance to renovate the house.
Through the social media, that a certain teacher from Chingambo had posted a story about these kids. So we took the story from social media and followed up, and we found out that these kids only live, the 3 of them. And the boy has been taking care of the 2 siblings for 2 years. He has been going around finding piecework to take care of the 2, just to give them food and at least a shelter. That's what he's been doing.
Chairperson for Fort Victoria Queens, Tadara Chihana, said going forward, her organization is looking forward to help in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic.
Our plans for 2021 literally is just to diverse our areas of charity. We don't have a specific area that we're targeting, but we just want to reach out to any person as long as they're Malawian, they're living within Malawi and they're in need of any support. So 2021, we just want to engage more gears, but we also want to focus a lot on COVID-19. As you all know that COVID-19 is real. And this year, 2021, hasn't started it very well.
Apart from renovating the house in which the 3 children are staying, a Fort Victoria Queens donated cash to the family. Reporting for MBC, this is Somomanda.
Well, that report concludes the Mzuzu segment of News Hour. On behalf of the News and Current Affairs crew in the Northern region, my name is Peter Makawa. Many thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
And finally, across the borders, Uganda has tightened security ahead of polls slated for this Thursday. Details in this report.
Dozens of people have been killed in Uganda's capital Kampala since protests broke out on Wednesday. They began after pop star turned presidential candidate Bobi Wine was arrested. He held a campaign rally in Luwunga district, just over 100 kilometers from the capital. As usual, it attracted thousands of supporters, many more than the limit of 200 allowed under COVID-19 restrictions.
There was a violent riot by activists of one of the political groups in various towns in Kampala, and the police intervened. So the deaths were as a result of confrontation with the police.
But Bobby Wine's supporters didn't see it like that. They think the government's trying to stop him sweeping to victory in presidential elections due in January. He's challenging President Yoweri Museveni, who's been in power for 34 years. After 2 days in jail, he was charged in court with breaking the COVID prevention rules and released on bail.
This was, in my opinion, meant to break our resolve. But I have news for you, Mr. Museveni, and all those that work to sustain your dictatorship. You cannot be broken. You can imprison our bodies, you can tear gas and pepper spray our bodies, but you cannot touch our souls. We are not going to stop fighting for a better Uganda.
4 other opposition presidential candidates have suspended their campaigns in protest against the actions of the security forces. The government blamed the demonstrators for rioting and attacking police officers.
Police has a right to shoot you and kill you if you reach a certain level of violence.
The elections are meant to be held just under 2 months from now. It's not clear if the campaigns will continue or how. But it is clear they've got off to a violent start. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera.
Well, that item wraps up this edition of MBC News Hour. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. Government suspends the Reverend John Chirembe Memorial Service of Worship. Young Women Christian Association empowers an 18-year-old young mother who survives through Kachaso Brewery. And the Malawi Human Rights Commission to conduct free and impartial investigations into the shooting of a polytechnic student. For more news, visit mbc.mw. I'm Kingsley Mtila, and our sign language interpreter was Tauson Kamalata. Keep watching MBC, and goodbye.
Hello there, it's time for the weather update and forecast. Heavy storms are expected to continue over Malawi, and this would trigger floods in flood-prone areas. Therefore, when going out there, avoid crossing fast-flowing rivers, and also remember to carry your masks and wear them. Yesterday, we had reports of the storms over Zomba, where Zomba National Statistics Office had 107 millimeters in just 24 hours. Neno received 92, Chambe Agriculture in Mulanje had 85, Malosa 75, and Salima Airport had 73 millimeters. Reports of heavy rains also came from Mbewe EPA, Michiru Parks, Mikolongwe, Balaka Agriculture, and Tamani EPA. It also rained heavily over Likoma Island, Mwanza, Group Village Headman Chiwalo, Ezwereni, Choroboma, and Jasi Lengwe, which had 32 millimeters. Heavy storms also experienced over Mimosa in Mulanje, Nsibe, Ncheu, Kamuzu International Airport, Area 15 Lilongwe, Perembe, and moderate rains were experienced over Mzimbaboma, especially over Emalini and Swazini. On today's map, we still have passes of Congo Air and the ITCZ together with these two systems. Heavy storms continue in the next 2 to 3 days, therefore take care. For tonight, it will be raining in the northern central, lakeshore, and southern Malawi. With cool conditions in the morning hours tomorrow over most places, but it will be a bit warm in areas along the lake and Shele Valley. Ngabu will have a minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, with heavy thunderstorms and rain showers in the northern central lakeshore and southern Malawi. As we get into the afternoon hours, we expect a warm temperature of 28 degrees Celsius over Mzuzu as a maximum. Leon will be at 29, a bit cold over Ngabu, up to 37 degrees Celsius, with heavy thunderstorms and rain showers and strong winds in thunder areas across Malawi. These heavy rains will continue in the next 24 hours. That's Friday will also be in heavy storms. A maximum temperature of 30 degrees Celsius over Chileka Airport, Tukombo in Karabe will be at 29, so too Chilipa in Mangochi. Obembeke will just be warm, and in rains with a maximum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius. That's the forecast. Goodbye.
This is MBC.